you can still invest in property even though you don't have money. You know, yes, at that point of my life, I would say I was privileged. I was earning dollars. Yes, I could buy properties here in South Africa with the affordability through the bank. But when we came back home, I didn't have a job in South Africa. You know, I had, yes, a portfolio, but it wasn't making us money.
And welcome back. I'm the host of the First Time Homebuyer Show, SD Clarkson. I'm extremely excited for this evening show. It is our 50th episode of the First Time Homebuyer Show, and I am sitting with a phenomenal woman this evening. But before we get started, we bring you amazing content every weekday this week. We've got Zamantungwa Kumalo with the Private Property Podcast live at 7 p.m. on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And of course, we've got Mbali with the Farming Podcast. Are you interested in farming, agriculture? Well, Mbali comes to your screens every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. And last but not least, Chad Viveros travels Mzansi, Johannesburg, looks at amazing mansions, townhouses, apartments. If you want to take that leap of faith and start investing in property, Chad's show is definitely going to help you reach that. And last but not least, I come to your screens every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. So without further ado, let's get this 50th celebration started. Do not forget, we are giving away amazing cash prizes this evening. I am sitting with a phenomenal woman, and what a way to end off my 50th episode and Women's Month with a bang, Sylvia Milosevic. Did I say that right?
I love it. You said it perfectly. You got it.
Literally took 10 minutes to try and figure that out. I am so excited to be sitting with you. You have no idea. Firstly, I didn't think you'd respond to my email. Let's start there, because you're so busy. You've achieved so much. It is a privilege to be sitting next to you.
Wow, thank you so much. You're getting me shy. But thank you so much. And also, I just want to say a huge congratulations.
Thank you.
50th episode. That is incredible. Yeah, that's very incredible. So congratulations to you. I hope you get to enjoy this momentous moment.
Yeah, I think I might just call you back for the 100th episode. Can we do that?
I like that. Let's do all the milestones. How about that?
Let's do the milestones. I love
date.
that. Thank you so much, Sylvia. I have read your bio. It is a hefty bio. You have achieved and accomplished so much. You know, let's take it back to where, you know, your upbringing. You come from the township and you've moved, you traveled the world. You've learned from property mentors and my favorite thing about you is that you came back to give it back. I just got goosebumps. We don't see that often, right? You started Riches and Beyond, and you're literally the definition of generational wealth, like you're giving back to people. But so yes, let's take it back. You know, you grew up in the township. Let's talk about your journey all the way back then to now.
Right. You know, first of all, thank you. My goodness, you said so amazing things. I'm like, whoa, who is she talking to? But thank you. You know, yes, I'm well known in the space as this property guru, property developer, TV personality, and, you know, like a CEO and founder of Riches and Beyond. But what a lot of people do not know about me is I was born and raised from a beautiful township of Garankuwa in Pretoria. And my mom was a stay-home mom. My dad was the only breadwinner at home who afforded us a good life, went to good schools, never had to worry about money, until one day my father came home. And after working for 17 years of his life for BMW, he got fired. You know, I remember he came into the house, he called the whole family to say, let's go into the living room. I've got something to discuss, to announce. And as we sat in the living room, he said those words, I've been fired. And I remember the terror on my mother's face. You know, I remember thinking to myself, it was just weeks ago, I was talking to my dad, I was 16 at the time, that, you know, after matric, I was gonna go to this university. We had everything planned. And now thinking to myself, how's that even gonna be a possibility now? But the reality is nothing about that day. You know, I remember it felt like walls came crashing down on us on that day, but nothing about that day prepared my family for the next 3 years of unemployment. For days we would go to bed on empty stomachs. You know, I come from a family that had money in a bank account, not knowing where money was going to come from. And the most painful part for me was My dad was not a lazy man. He went out there. He looked for a job. He was just never lucky. And one day he came home after, being tired of trying and nothing coming through. And he was sitting on his favorite chair. And as we were sitting in the living room, he just started crying. I had never seen my father cry. And as he was crying, he said some shattering words. He said that, I apologize. I apologize to you, my wife. I apologize to you, my children, for I have failed you. The one thing I'm supposed to do as a man, I have failed at doing that. And that broke my heart, looking at my hero, my role model, my dad, and from that day onwards, he got into the deepest depression. I got to experience a side of my dad I had never seen before. And his coping mechanism became a bottle of Castle and a bottle of Lion, and he became alcoholic. And I don't know if you've been through a time in your life where you felt like life was ripped under your feet and you couldn't do anything about your situation. And that's how it felt. So I remember that time at 16, I promised myself, Sylvia, when you grow up, you are never going to rely on anyone to look after you, nor rely on a job, a job, as a source of security. Now, I didn't know what the future held, but I trusted in the future, I had faith, and I didn't even know what the solutions was until I turned the age of 21. And my parents, for my 21st birthday, they didn't do this massive, big 21st birthday. They bought me a book, and it was on property. So yeah, that for me was the biggest turning point of my life. Like, wow, my aha moment. I can now start focusing on property as a vehicle towards financial freedom. Yes, I had an opportunity to go and work overseas at the same time, but the plan was I'll go there, work hard, and it's great. Property is one of those things you don't have to be physically here to take care of. As long as you get the right support system, I can be overseas working, money I'm making, investing here. So basically that's been my journey.
That's amazing. And look at where you are now, right? I feel like when I look back at my life, because I don't like to be vulnerable on the show, but I come from a very similar background. And to have a father figure who, has been through something like that, and it's the man in the family. And to see that happen and to see that crumble in front of you, for me, it motivated me to do better.
Yes.
And I can then, I don't like to do the whole gender thing, the whole man, woman, but I then became the brother, the father, the sister, the mother, everything. Exactly, you have to step up, and that's amazing. And so let's talk a little bit about your experience overseas, right? Because you said that taught you quite a bit as well.
Correct.
And how did you manage to even make it there? Like did you get the opportunity to eventually study?
So not really. Well, self-studied property, but not from a professional level.
Okay.
So how the opportunity came about, it was like one of those coincidences. I was working at Monte Casino here as a casino dealer.
Yeah.
And during one of the breaks, the supervisor came through and said, guys, you guys are relaxing here. You're going to miss opportunities. We're like, what are you talking about? He's like, there's this agency all the way from the US. They're in Cape Town running interviews, looking for casino dealers to go and work on cruise ships. And I was like, wow, that sounds amazing. So the next break, I went straight to him, asked him, tell me more. He gave me details. And then I called the agent the very next day, and they said, can you come through to Cape Town for an interview tomorrow? Because tomorrow is the cutoff date. And I said, yes. And I did what a lot of us have been guilty of in the past.
Yeah.
I was supposed to show up for work, but I went to the doctor.
To the doctor.
I went to the doctor, got my last rent's money, flew to Cape Town for the very first time in my life.
Yeah.
When I got to Cape Town, long line of people waiting, got my opportunity to walk in. When I walked in there was this amazing woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, Texan woman. She spoke beautiful American accent. I couldn't even hear some of the words she was saying. I was so nervous. And the first question she asked me was, tell me about yourself. And I said, I'm Sylvia. I said, my full name, Sylvia Milosevic at the time. And I'm 20 years old. And she stopped me. She says, wait, how old are you? I said, I'm 20. She says, did you read the ad for this job? I said, no. She said, you needed to be 21 years old to apply for this position. So you don't qualify. I was so disappointed. But she said, at any rate, it's your interview time slot. Let us continue. So we continued, then I became myself, and I was making jokes, demanding high salaries in dollars. Long story short, fast forward 2 weeks later, I got a call from the agent that I got the job. This position was for 20 people, so they created a 21st slot, and I had to wait until I turned 21 to go overseas. So that's what it was. So had an incredible opportunity to travel the world. I've been to about 61 different countries around the world, 175 cities. I also did a lot of personal development, studied property, but majority of what I learned about property was from the theoretical side of property investing, read from books. And then when I'd come home during vacation, I'll just be buying properties left and right. And having that American salary afforded me a high affordability through our banks in South Africa. So I was young, I was buying, I was listening to estate agents, I was buying directly from new developers. Fast forward, building a portfolio over 8 years with a plan that when my husband and I come back to settle in South Africa, we'll have this portfolio to look after us. But our reality was not that way.
Oh, really?
When we came home, 8 years later, had this portfolio. First thing that happened is that the letting agent that we had managing all the properties disappeared. They literally ran away with all the tenants' deposits. We also found out they were a fly-by-night. They were not a legitimate company to start off with. So one didn't know lots of things, how to vet, didn't know much. Everything I knew about investing in property was what I read from books and put into practicality. And now when the tenants realized the vulnerability, and I dealt with some of the tenants who knew more about the law than I did, and they were ready to play the game.
Oh, wow.
So it was a tough time. I mean, we had to go through lots of evictions. We had tenants who refused to pay. We got court orders, like restraining orders, because we tried in every way to get, to evict them, and, from the illegal way to learning the hard way that you have to do it legally. And it costed us a lot of money and almost became bankrupt. There's a statistic that says that majority of properties that go through the sheriff's auction are property investments gone wrong. And we almost became that statistic. Almost became that statistic.
Wow. And I wanted to find out, because that's really, firstly, I wanted to get back to, because even in your bio, you say you bought properties left and right. Would you say that you were in a point of privilege because you had, you were earning dollars?
Correct.
And so because you could come back and obviously buy all these properties. And I think what, this is just my opinion of Riches and Beyond, is what you're trying to do for South Africans. That you don't need to necessarily make this money, dollars, euros, pounds, but let's buy property left and right as South Africans in South Africa.
Absolutely. I love that. And also, just to add on to that, you can still invest in property even though you don't have money. Yes, at that point of my life, I would say I was privileged. I was earning dollars. Yes, I could buy properties here in South Africa with the affordability through the bank. But when we came back home, I didn't have a job in South Africa. I had, yes, a portfolio, but it wasn't making us money. And, fast forward, what happened is that we came across a property educational program. It was a British company here in South Africa, educating South Africans on how to invest offshore.
Okay.
But at this seminar, the speaker in front of the room, he was talking about different types of strategies that, we only knew buy and rent, buy to let. He said, no, there's about 15 most powerful strategies that you can apply in any country around the world to achieve success in property. There's about a minimum of 10 ways for you to raise money to go into deals. So let's talk about all these things that you could do in property, was living the lifestyle. And I thought to myself, that man is a genius and I want to be like him. So we took some of the proceeds from the property we sold. We took a huge leap. It's like huge leap of faith, and invested in ourselves and went all the way to the UK, spent time in the UK, paid for a mentorship, got ourselves a mentor from one of the reputable companies there who introduced us to his mastermind team, got to meet some of the top property experts while I was in the UK, opened up my limited company, set up banking facilities, learned so much. He held me by the hand, took me out, then taught me everything that I knew about property. But now I had learned it from the UK. Right. It's like, okay, it works in the UK.
Now
Is it gonna work in South Africa? So when I came back to South Africa, they paid me, they had other students who had been through the same similar courses who were achieving success on the ground. And they were got some introductions for them to just be of a support system, while I'm putting things into practice before signing an offer to purchase, having someone to overlook it so I don't make mistakes, When I go for viewing before buying, having that second eye, that's experience, getting that support. And as in the first 8 years of me investing in property, I did it completely wrong, lost money in the biggest way. And it took 4.5 years to reach a point of what we call financial independency, where we're getting sufficient income from property to cover our living expenses to cover our lifestyle. Got into buying from auctions, bank repossessed properties, got into tapping into multi-lets, got into doing back-to-back deals. I now even learned something powerful, that in order to grow a portfolio to the level of building wealth, you can't do it only relying on your money. You can't look at how much I've got in my pocket or savings in my bank account. You need to develop a powerful skill in learning on how to raise money, learning to go into joint venture partnership, learning to tap into venture capitalism, learning to understand what is it that financial institutions are looking for, and finding the right deals that you're able to put the right proposals together, because that business investor's proposal is what's going to get you funding. Had to master all those things, plus getting the right knowledge. So acquiring a knowledge that a lot of people do not know out there, that then becomes an exchange for you. So
I wanted to find out, because you've been through a lot, and such moments where you could have been in a point in your life where you lose everything.
Yes,
you were so close to that.
We were.
What was like the biggest lesson? Like, let's narrow it down to just one big lesson that you learned from that moment in your life.
I would say this, Essie, and this applies to different moments of my life. Whenever I stepped into something for the first time that I didn't know much about, and I tackled it myself, I've pretty much always made mistakes, lost money, literally, so I would say the biggest lesson, and also what I would call, like a recipe to my success, has been from those failures. What I've learned is whatever it is that I want to tap into and master, I need to invest in myself first. I wanted to become a speaker. I invested in myself. I went for Les Brown. I got to learn from Les Brown, paid a huge amount of money, but it was an investment, because I knew by learning how to do public speaking, I will get, it's an ROI that I'll get back. So I went into business with my previous partners, first business I had, didn't know much about that, made biggest mistake that almost killed everything, So from learning that, what did I do? So I learned from that, and then the next thing I did is sort out the best mentor in the world, Lisa Nichols. She's a global entrepreneur, has a business over 49 countries, to mentor me to do it the right way. So I'm working with Lisa now, helping me to build Riches and Beyond, and also taking this business globally as well. So every single thing that I want to tap into, in terms of personal growth or financial growth, I've learned the best way to mitigate risk, to get there faster. Invest in a mentor, invest in someone who knows much more than you, and they've got the track record, so you can leverage from the experience.
And I love what you said earlier, invest in yourself. And I think research is so important. Research about anything that you want to take that leap of faith and try and do and learn. And especially something, a lot of young adults coming out of university, what they've started doing is just starting their own businesses. And it could, in most cases, we're following our passion. And it might not necessarily be the degree you just studied, but I think a lot of the time we end up making mistakes a year or 2 years later is because we lack research in this thing. Yes. So to the young people at home, I think it's so important that we need to do our research. And just before we carry on, Sylvia, I have a very important question for you. But I just want to remind all the viewers at home, it is the 50th episode, of massive milestone for myself. Sylvia's with me this evening, and I just want to remind you, we are giving away 2,500 Rand cash to 2 lucky winners. We need that special piece of advice for potential first-time homebuyers. That's been our question to our viewers throughout this week, Sylvia. We've been giving away a lot of money. And the question is a pivotal piece of advice for a potential first-time homebuyer. What's your advice for that?
I would say that don't rush. Sometimes we get taken away, right? Yeah. Like, I can afford it. I really want it. I've been dreaming about it. You maybe even have it on your vision board. And you meet that first property, say, this is it. Take your time. View at least 20 of them. And the beautiful thing about viewing multiple properties, it's every single one gives you a lesson. By the time you're done with 20, definitely you'll know which one is the right one to go.
I like that, yeah. To view 20, and on the show, I hear a lot of advice from property mentors and moguls and investors. This is the first time I've heard view 20. I think that's what I'm going to do. I've only viewed 2.
Try.
I made my decision though. You're right, view 20, but someone else also said something so amazing who was on the show once, and he was like, drive around the neighborhood in the evening
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so smart. Like, go around in the evening, find out like, are the neighbors making a noise? Is there like a little tavern down the road?
Right.
You know, and
People standing by the corner. And we need to do those things.
on a Friday evening or a Saturday evening. So
Absolutely.
that's my piece of advice.
I love it.
Was we spoke in depth about strategy and how important it is to have a mentor to help you who's been in the game, who helps you. What is Sylvia's strategy, property strategy to success?
So right now, where I am in my life, so I'm into your high density residential development. I'm working on 2 deals at the moment. One is right across from UJ. It will host about 510 students. The second one is in Arcadia. It will host about 1,400 students. And the biggest deal that we're busy with now, it's in Mpumalanga, and that's a mega city project. It's an 8 billion project that we happen to be part of. Yeah, the team that's bringing it to life and working with the,
How can I join?
Why not?
Join
I
these,
think you should.
You know?
Yeah, I think you should. So those are the strategies right now. And you know, for me, it's all about reaching the next level. And the beautiful thing is every level I reach, then I can go back and say, okay, here's the format. Here's the, you know, because property investing should never be treated as a side thing.
As like a side hustle.
A side hustle. I'm just building it on the side. You want to treat it as a business that's scalable. Whether you're starting with that first time home, you're buying well. Your home is not your investment. We buy our first home, that's fine. You can buy that, but also maybe second to that, buy your first property investment that's making you money from day one. And then from there, we start building it. Start with one, get the second one. Maybe by the time you get the third one, can we maybe escalate the strategy? Can we now start tapping into multi-lets? When you're in multi-lets, you're able to leverage a lot from that. You can take out some of the equity to now start reinvesting in your blocks of flats, you know? So that's how it should be about continuous learning. It should be about continuous growth. And that's how you get to the levels of building a legacy that lives beyond your lifetime.
Exactly. And that's
While you're enjoying the money
While
right
you're
now.
enjoying the money now. And that was actually, I have so many questions for you. My next question was going to be something around the lines of, you're a mentor yourself.
Yes, I am.
What is like the first piece of advice you would give a young adult coming in, first time in property? I know nothing. I don't even have my first home. What piece of advice would you give someone?
You know, as a mentor, when I start working with anyone, whether they're young, they're old, because you get matured people who have not even started as yet, but particularly for the young people, would be goals. What's your goal? You know, what is your goal? Where do you see yourself 6 months from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, in terms of property, in terms of property investing, property acquisition? Let's start from there. And once you've established, say, wow, you know, in a year from now, I'd like to own 1 or 2 buy-to-lets that are investment. Okay, now once we've got the goal, we start working on the goal. It should, the foundation for all of it is the goal and the why. Why are you starting? So, because having goals and having a why, these are the things that are going to get you there.
Exactly.
Because now you've made a commitment to yourself. And that will hold you accountable. That's what's going to get you back on track. But if we don't have goals or why we're even doing it in the first place, then it will just be a nice to have or a nice to do.
Just to have. And I think that's a piece of like homework for all the viewers watching the show. If you do not know your why yet, if you're so excited, you're ready to invest in property, you've watched all our shows, but you don't know why, or you don't have a short-term or long-term goal, I think this is something especially young adults need to start thinking about right now. So I also want to go back to, we spoke about you being a mentor and a piece of advice that you would give first-time home buyers or potential investors in the future. But now I want to find out from you, I know you did the program in the UK and that kind of inspired Riches and Beyond, correct?
Correct, absolutely.
I want to know a little bit more about what you are doing, because I was like rambling in the beginning, because I love what you're doing with Riches and Beyond. But I'd like for you to tell the viewers in depth your goal. What is Sylvia's goal?
Oh, I love it. You know, it's goal slash purpose slash passion. Is that it's a deep one. It's a deep one. It's that you know, I come from, as I told my story about my dad, someone who worked for 17 years of their lives, and just like that, them losing their job and that changing our lives drastically. So that I believe sort of crafted my mission and purpose and why I'm doing what I'm doing today. And it has everything to do with transformation. It's got everything to do with teaching an everyday person, a young person at home right now, a mom right now who wants to gain her own independence and take care of her own finances. A man who's the breadwinner of a family who's feeling like my salary is just not enough to cover all the overheads. I feel like I'm just, living, I'm caught in the red race and I just can't find a way out of this. Someone who's feeling stuck, like there's just not enough money, enough finances to go by, and I'm looking for solutions. So mastering and learning about property investing, and my mission and purpose is educating more and more people that you can take charge of your financial future, that you can create your own economy, that you're not affected by the job, by the economy, by what's happening around us, because you now learn a powerful skill of knowing how to create money for yourself. When you start mastering strategies such as your capital flip, where you're buying below market value, you fix to sell and make a profit, and you've done the first one successfully, you now have the blueprint. You've got the system. All you do is go back and do the very same thing. You now know how to create 100,000. If you're indebted and your credit card is at 100,000 and it's taking you 3 years to cover up to 20,000, you still have 80,000 of a mountainous debt, and it's giving you so much stress. All you need to do is you learn this once, you go and apply it. Less than 6 months, you can easily make a minimum profit of 100,000, settle off that credit card. If you say, I would love for my child to go to a private school, to a Crawford, so they can get a better life than I did, I want it better for them. So we start working this year. We learn, you learn these things, you go and buy below market value, you fix, you sell, bang. You've made 100,000, you can pay for their whole school fees for the whole year.
Exactly.
You don't have to save for 7 years to take your children to Disneyland.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about, creating your own financial economy, creating money for yourself.
And why I always say that what you're doing is like generational wealth, or even it's generational knowledge as well.
Right.
Because whoever you are now mentoring goes home to the township, to the kasi, and they're telling their cousin, their uncle,
right,
and they're sharing this knowledge, right, and then more people come, more people want to learn about this, and that is how we grow as a community, and that's exactly what I believe.
I love it. And that's the largest, legacy to say, have you changed lives? Not only just your own lives, and also with that knowledge, they say charity begins at home. We start at home. Once you've learned it, can we now teach our children? So yeah, go to school, study, get those degrees. But while you're busy studying and getting those degrees and working, let's start building on the side. Let's build that business that's going to take care of us. So even us, while we're doing it and building it, we want to make sure that when we're going to pass it over, we're passing it over to people who are going to be capable of taking it forward. And once we learn it, now we take it to the community. Now, we take it as far as we can. And that's how we change the landscape, and that's how we transform minds and hearts, and
I agree. I want to bring it back to Women's Month. And I want to know what your vision for women in property is.
Wow, my vision for women in property is, wow, can you imagine? And I want you to imagine this, Esty. We're in 2021. Imagine 2031. And, we hear that there's about 20, 50 property funds owned by women, and women from all walks of life, not just the privileged one, but like it is possible, it is possible. I feel like property is still a male-dominated space that we need lots of the Sylvias and the Esties, we need lots of that, and that's how we also become role models for the young ones, because when they see more of us and they see it's possible, because you look like them, you sound like them, so if you can do it, they can do it too.
I want to, because I know we're running out of time, but I want to know from you, because of course that's a beautiful image, a beautiful picture. In 2031, we have all these women taking over the property market. How can we get there, Sylvia?
I love that. Thank you for that question, because that's why I do what I'm doing. Riches and Beyond, we've had over 40,000 students, literally over 40. We've helped raise we've helped a student raise over $500 million worth of funding towards their deals. And now we've got this magnificent and a powerful platform where we're now able to reach the masses. And that's with the TV show, the property game show that I'm sharing with Proverb, where we have our students coming in to sharing their stories, their journeys, their successes, where they were from, what property is doing for them. So the more people see this show, the more seeds are planted, the more people's eyes are opening to say, wow, there are possibilities. Wow, if they can do it. You know, we had a powerful lady this week, Sweleni, who comes from Emakayas in KwaZulu-Natal, where, you know, where she grew up from, you were only limited to going to school. If you're lucky, you even have a matric certificate, where when you're dreaming about making it big in the world, everyone laughs at you and says, keep on dreaming, you know? To her sharing a powerful story on how she's making money in property and having investors. And I'm like, wow. So when more people see this and they see people like Sweleni who just like them, sound like them, and they're making it, that's how we get to 20, 50 property funds 10 years from now.
There we go.
That's dedication.
I love that. And I want to find out from you, Sylvia, what does generational wealth mean to you?
So generational wealth, what that means to me, and I'll take it back. My great-great-grandfather, he started from zero. My grandfather, he started from zero. My father started from zero. I would love for my children to start from something. And I would love for their children, I would love that 100 years from now, my great-great-great-grandson and daughters, they should be in their property space, building skyscrapers, and it's all because their grandmother 100 years ago believed in herself. That's what generational wealth is.
I love that. And I think that's something that we all need to work towards.
And we can, and with knowledge like this, accessible to all of us, with the internet, with educational...
We're so privileged, actually.
There's no excuse.
Our grandmothers and our mothers were back in the day.
100%, and that's why we should take advantage.
I said, yes, this is the first time homebuyer show, and I love that you kept reiterating the fact that when people see that we can do it, a little colored girl in the township in Cape Town believes because I'm doing it, they see people who look like them, sound like them, and that's how people believe in themselves. Right. You told me that the one push was your 21st birthday and that book.
Yes.
For what? Because Sylvia, you're so committed to what you do. You wake up every morning and you continue to thrive and you continue to, and yes, of course you are doing it to build a generational legacy for people, for our kids that we're leaving behind. But I'm sure there are mornings where you just can't. Where today you feel like this is heavy, you know, the energy is awful today. What keeps Sylvia motivated? You
know, I give myself a lot of grace. I've learned to develop a good relationship with myself. You know,
be kind to yourself.
Be kind to myself, to listen to myself. And when I don't feel like it, when I'm feeling down, if I feel like crying, I allow myself to cry. If I feel really tired, I say, we gotta stop. It's not, nothing will happen, we gotta stop, let's take a break. So self-care and grace, giving yourself grace, it goes a long way. So I'm very kind to myself. I've learned to do that. It wasn't always that way, but I've learned to do that. And that's keeping me going. As a result of that, I've got lots of energy with doing the things that I'm doing, because I always know that when it comes through a certain level, my everything, my intuition, everything starts saying, Sylvia, break time for us.
That's amazing.
Grace and self-care. I'll say those are the biggest thing, and allow myself to feel things.
And to not beat yourself up for doing that and for taking the time.
100%. Self-talk. I pay a lot of attention to that, you know, because I've learned something powerful, that I am not my brain. There's 60,000 thoughts that goes through my brain. That's not who I am. It's just my brain going chatter, chatter. But there's Sylvia and there's the brain. And I can choose the thoughts that come through. And the ones that are not serving me, I'm like, thank you for sharing information, but no, I don't welcome you. You know?
And you know, that can't come easy to a lot of people, but that comes from learning to invest in yourself.
That's it.
Taking the time.
You
would never know that you need to do something like that if you did not invest.
100%.
And know who Sylvia is at the core.
I love that you said that. Personal development has a huge part in success. You know, even with the property game show, I don't know if you've watched it. It's a two-part, show. It's about personal development, and it's also about property investment, because one thing I've seen from my journey as a property mentor is the students who become successful are the ones who have the right mental attitude, are the ones who are like mentally tough and have it. Some people have it naturally, others they have to learn that whole personal development thing. But I'll tell you, people who come in and become successful, they had the right mindset to begin with.
Yeah, at the beginning.
So investing in that is very important, and it's for free. You can go on YouTube. It's like literally you don't have to pay huge amounts of money for that.
That's so true. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sylvia. I absolutely enjoyed this. I do want to do this again. I believe that we should, because I know that we just spoke about your goals, and I feel that once you've achieved and obtained, these goals is when we should have another sit down, because again, it's about educating and showing people that this is possible.
Love it. I'd love to. Thank you. It was amazing.
Thank you so much, Sylvia.
And
for coming
congratulations.
to the 50th episode.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
So happy for you.
Thank you so much.
happy
I'll see
for
you again at the 100th episode.
Yeah, love it. Thank you.
We are definitely inspired, motivated, and driven. And thank you once again to Sylvia Milosevic for showing us that we too can reach our dreams. And as you've heard, tonight is extra special. We're celebrating a whopping 5-0, as you can see behind me. Of course, the aim of the show is to chat to inspiring property investors, first-time home buyers, because if they can do it, so can we. And on that note of being excited and inspired and driven and motivated, I would like to share some of the advice that you guys gave us on Facebook. And let's start off with the first piece of advice from Tintswalo Mulambo. Before you get emotionally attached to a beautiful house, check your monthly budget to determine the amount that you can afford. Make sure your monthly housing costs, including taxes and insurance, is not going to be more than 25% of your monthly take-home pay. That was the amazing advice from Tintswalo. And one more just before we announce the winners of the 2,500 Rand this evening. We've got Nzwabantu Moy, who says, think about what you want and what you need. Be specific with online searches and when talking to agents. Work with well-known agencies. They all know the area and properties on the market and will be able to give you really good advice. Thank you so much to those two absolutely amazing advice given from our viewers at home. Thank you so much to everyone who's participated in the competition and given us that absolutely amazing advice that we needed from you for any potential first-time home buyer. But now we reach the most exciting part of the show, where we give two lucky winners 2,500 Rand cash. Our first winner is Rafilwe Precious Malebane. I would like to take a moment and quickly read some of the advice Rafilwe has shared with us. Rafilwe says, the first thing is to have an idea of what you can afford, very important, Rafilwe, and save up for a deposit so that your bond payments will be lower. Please head out to our comment section and see more of what Rafilwe shared with us. Rafilwe Malebane, you are our first lucky winner. DM us to claim that prize. And that's not all. Our second winner for tonight's grand prize of 2,500 Rand is, another drum roll please, Queen Taco. Queen, thank you so much for your absolutely amazing advice. I'd like to share a little something from Queen, and she says, research about the area. We talk about that often on the show. Do your research before you make that big property investment. Thank you so much to everyone at home, those who participated in the competition. Thank you to those who helped me celebrate our 50th milestone. And to our lucky winners, don't forget, DM us to claim your prize. Here is to 100 episodes. We'll see you guys every Wednesday at 8 p.m. live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Let's go. Cheers. Here's to 100 episodes. See you guys soon. Take care and stay safe.